All right, I'll make this quick. Vikings fans are in freakout mode because, well, for one, they're always in freakout mode, but two, uh, the Ravens finally traded Orlando Brown Jr., which has been talked about for a long time. They traded him to the Chiefs, and Vikings fans are mad that we didn't trade for him. I mean, look, it's not as simple as just, okay, you trade for the guy. They're going to have to pay him. Went to the Chiefs. Their Chiefs are going to have to pay him a bundle now, unless they're trading for a rental, which I doubt. And we can't do that. I'm sorry. Like we've worked wonders with the salary cap this offseason to make moves, but we're not going to be able to take on a hugely expensive tackle now on top of everything else. And you're gonna have to, and they're gonna have to do something with that. With him, they're gonna have to either sign him or if it's a rental. I mean, that's a hell of a lot to give up for a rental. I'm perfectly fucking fine. Like standing pat with the draft picks that we have. I know there's gonna be wheeling and dealing next week a lot because it is Rick, but you know, I'm perfectly fine standing pat with that and still having money that we can use for other extensions and free agents. Going forward, like not just this year but next year. But Vikings fans are gonna just freak out because I mean, I just can't wait for the fucking draft to come here next week so that we can finally draft a few linemen and people can shut the fuck up about this whole we're ignoring the offensive line. No, we're not. There's still free agents out there. There's still a lot of free agents out there. I'm sure we're going to sign a couple of them once the draft settles and the dust settles from the draft and we know exactly where we stand. They're going to use many draft picks on offensive linemen. I mean, depends on how many we end up with in terms of the number. Right now, I would say minimum 3 linemen, including high picks. I mean, first round, I think is certainly very, very possible. Um, but I will never stop tiring of Vikings fans freaking out about all this shit. It's like we were never going to get Thuney. We were never going to be able to pay that level of money unless we wanted to just forego any other moves. And we weren't going to get Brown unless we were willing to give up enormous draft capital and a shit ton of money. And Vikings fans really need to be smarter than what they are with this stuff. We're not ignoring the offensive line. The draft was. If you can't tell from what they did with free agents and that heavy focus on defense, if you can't tell that they were prioritizing defense and free agency to prioritize offense in the draft, I don't know what to tell you. Like I said, there's not much left to even draft for defense. They can draft maybe a obviously the Gladney thing comes in now and maybe changes their plans a little bit. I don't think they're gonna. Everyone wants to make the Zimmer's gonna draft a cornerback in the first round. I highly doubt the Gladney thing is gonna completely alter their approach to the first pick. I don't think that's a big enough deal. A guy who's going to be maybe your third best cornerback coming into the season, is that going to mean you're going to completely alter what you do with your first round pick? I don't think so. Maybe an edge rusher. They're certainly not going to go linebacker in the first round. They're not going to pick a safety in the first round. So I mean, and they're not going to pick an interior lineman. So it's like it's going to be, it's it's not a lock. It's not a lock they're going to go offense. And not a lock they're going to go lineman with the first pick. I would be just gobsmacked shocked if they don't go lineman very, very early. That could be either tackle or guard, but I mean, they're obviously going to focus offense in the draft, and they're going to focus on offensive line because they don't really. I mean, they might draft a receiver. They're not going to draft a fucking quarterback. I mean, not early anyway. Obviously, no running back, no tight end. Like, their urgent draft needs are very, very minimal, I think, and offensive line is one, and they know it. The idea that they don't know what's gone on with the offensive line is preposterous. I mean, they've been using high draft capital on offensive linemen. Now you can argue that they haven't always picked the right guy, you know, um, but they are making these moves, and they're going to make more moves next week with the draft. I'm looking forward to the draft. I think it's going to be a really interesting draft, and if they ace the draft like they did ace the draft last year, we're going to be sitting pretty. So, none of you people whining could pick Orlando Brown Jr. out of a fucking lineup. He ain't the God's he ain't the God's gift to offensive line. And frankly, why the fuck isn't Baltimore keeping him if he's so indispensable? But hey, look, we're gonna be fine. We're gonna draft some offensive linemen. We're gonna be good. Shut the fuck up.